My wife served me divorce papers as soon as we returned from a family vacation. We had just spent 5 days at the beach. The kind of trip where everything looks perfect from the outside. Matching swimsuits, sandcastles, sunset photos she posted with the caption, "My people." I thought we were fine. The drive home was quiet, but I blamed it on the kids being completely wiped out. She put them to bed the second we walked through the door. I started unloading the car by myself, hauling bags up the driveway in the dark. She came downstairs with a thick envelope and set it flat on the kitchen counter without saying a word. I laughed. I actually laughed out loud. I thought it was some kind of prank. It wasn't. She sat across from me and said she had been planning this for almost a year. She had already spoken to a lawyer. She had already found an apartment. She had already told her mother. She had already talked to the kids' school about what was coming. I was the last to know. In my own house. I asked why she never just talked to me. She said she had. 100 times. In 100 different ways. She said every single time she brought something up, I'd agree, get quiet, and then nothing would ever change. She said she stopped expecting anything to change about 2 years ago. I sat there and tried to think of one example. One moment where she tried, and I actually listened. I couldn't come up with a single one. Here is what I do know. We have been married for 11 years. 2 kids, 8 and 5. She stopped working after our second was born because we both agreed it made sense. I work long hours. I always have. But everything we have is because of that. The house, the cars, the vacations, the life. I thought that was love. I honestly believed that providing was the same thing as being present. She told me it wasn't. Not even close. She said there were dinners where I showed up an hour late and never apologized. Nights she cried in the bathroom because she felt completely invisible, and I was 10 feet away watching television. She said there was a whole year where she asked me about couples therapy, and I kept saying sure, we'll figure it out, and we never once made a single call. I remember her asking about therapy. I just never thought it was that serious. That's exactly what she kept coming back to. She said I never took anything seriously until it was already over. She told me about a night 3 years ago when she went out to the back porch at midnight, and I never noticed she was gone. She sat out there for 2 hours waiting to see if I would come looking. I didn't. She came back inside, and I was asleep on the couch. She said that was the first night she thought about leaving. I had no memory of that night at all. None. She had a whole life happening inside her that I had no access to. A running list of moments I missed. A quiet count I didn't know she was keeping. And by the time I was booking the beach trip, buying the swimsuits, planning the sandcastle photo, she already had a signed lease and boxes in her mother's garage. The vacation was never a vacation for her. She told me she went because she wanted the kids to have one last good memory before everything changed. She said she sat on the beach and watched me play with them in the water and felt absolutely nothing. Not anger, not love, just nothing. She said, feeling nothing is when you know you're already gone. I asked if there was any chance we could fix it. She looked at me the way you look at someone who still doesn't get it and said that question is exactly the problem. She said I was already trying to solve it. Problem-solving mode. And what she needed for 11 years was for me to feel it first. Not fix it, just feel it. She said there is a difference and she needed me to understand that difference and I never did. I didn't know what to say. I still don't. I keep going back to those photos she posted. Her smiling on the beach, sun behind her, kids on either side. The caption, "My people," with a little heart and everyone in the comments saying goals and you guys are everything. And the whole time she was sitting there counting down. She is staying in the guest room until she finishes moving out. She talks to the kids every morning like nothing is broken, makes their lunches, drives them to school, comes home and closes the door to that room and I don't hear a sound. I knocked last night. She opened the door and waited. I said I don't know how to do this. She said I know. And she closed it again. The papers are still on the kitchen counter. I walk past them every morning to make coffee and I don't touch them. Maybe because signing feels like agreeing. Like saying yes, this is what I was worth. This is what 11 years added up to. I keep going back to that midnight porch. Her sitting out there alone in the dark for 2 hours, waiting for me to notice the empty space beside me and come find her. I was asleep 10 feet away. I didn't even know to go looking.